So now we know because of chest press, right? Double versus single side, right? You're almost always gonna start double arm on shoulder press, same as chest press for time efficiency and the core stability of it, right? If I'm single side on anything, I'm gonna have to work a lot more here versus if I'm double side. So the way I always coach shoulder press is I'm always gonna show you from a lateral viewpoint because that's where the majority of the coaching is gonna come, right? So you remember what a plank is, right? Plank is stiff body. A lot of things in strength training are stiff body. Pause. I'm talking to you like you don't know anything, but I'm hoping that's helping you understand like how I would deliver it to someone as a client. So I'm always gonna show you from a lateral view. I want you to think body stiffness in this because it is very unstable. Your core feels the best when your arms are by your side, right? You have a lot of stability there. The second you take your arms away from the midline of your body, your core is now left there to do a lot on its own. So I want you to be really tight in your legs. I want you to be really tight in your core. A cue I use a lot is I'm gonna push you, and I literally will push them. Not aggressively, but I give them a little shove so that they can feel what I mean by that. If they go like this, I know they're not stiff, right? But if they fight me, I'm like, exactly, that's exactly what I want, is that fight. I want you to feel that tension in your body, okay? I want you to have your knuckles at your shoulders. We're always gonna teach you neutral grip, just like we did in chest press. That's gonna ensure that we keep your shoulders safe and allow you to gain the most strength through compound movement of your triceps, your lats, and all of your shoulder muscles, okay? I'm gonna stand lateral so you can see me. I'm squeezing my butt, I'm squeezing my quads. I'm gonna brace my abdominals, once again, like I'm in a plank position. Knuckles are in, I'm gonna inhale, and as I exhale, I'm gonna punch the sky, and I'm gonna push back, right? So now when I'm fully locked out, you can see my head, right, in my peripheral. I can see you out of my eye, out of my vision, and you can see my chin, my nose, my eyes, and I'm seeing those specific things because I have aggressively mobile shoulders. This is not normal. This is not what you're gonna see clients do. This is what you're gonna see clients do, right? Getting them to get that last step is really important because people will go like this and then you have to say, okay, now push back, and they'll push back. But what comes when they push back is this comes when they push back. So it's a combination of separating your shoulders from your spine. My spine is staying down, my shoulders are being locked out back. Double arm, single arm overhead, we always start neutral, butt's tight, feet are grounded. If I'm doing this and I'm seeing a lot of this and they're not able to either lock out their elbow or get full lock out of their shoulder, I'm gonna take a weight away immediately. I'm gonna do one weight at a time because that's at least less to think about. Okay, now let's just focus on this side. And you know their dominant arm is most likely gonna be their tighter arm. So always start with their weaker / more mobile arm. So lefty, let's start lefty, right? If you're feeling unstable, I want you to use your other arm for counterbalance, right? Remember, you're squeezing your butt, you're gonna press up, walk out, shoulder back. And demonstrating it for them, I think helps them a lot. I do a lot of physical touch with this exercise, right? Walk around, make sure, hey, flex out your leg. I tap the top of their butt, right? I never jab someone right in their tush. I kind of do outside of it just to coach them through. Ribs are tucked in, and if they don't understand what I mean by that, I'll do the coughing. Okay, go ahead and cough for me. When you cough, you flex your ribs. It's a nice way of getting someone to remember that, especially, I mean, totally off subject, but squatting, that's a great way to coach someone is cough. That reminds. right? Because yeah, you're looking at it correctly, you're saying it wrong. Because I'm more stable like this, right? If I'm trying to press like this, it's really awkward. I want butt tight, I want this foot driven in. I want to be, once again, you can test them, give them a little push. Hey, are you stable there? Not aggressive, but just like, hey, you stable? Right, ribs are tucked in, my knuckles right. And I like to use my other arm always to counterload on stuff like this. People don't realize that this is a really, like, you don't feel that stable with a half kneel position. A lot of people don't, right? So definitely a progression. Half kneel landmine single arm shoulder press, what we just did. Varying tools. So med ball and kettlebell. I'm actually gonna show you both of those. So kettlebell is more advanced for multiple reasons, but I think with our clientele base, people get really uncomfortable with holding things that aren't comfortable. Kettlebells can be really weird on your wrist. So one thing I always coach is, okay, when you hold the kettlebell, your natural instinct is to let your wrist kind of fall out. So you're always gonna think curl your fist towards your face. So knuckles to the sky always, top knuckles to the sky always, and that makes them feel a little more comfortable, okay? When I'm pressing, because of the instability in the kettlebell, I'm gonna feel my lat a lot more, which is what I want when I'm shoulder pressing, but a lot of people have a hard time accessing that from a dumbbell. Just like the chest press, the kettlebell, because of the instability, activates smaller muscles around the shoulder, helping them feel more, helping them get to actual better engagement. Med ball shoulder press is pretty cool because you're demanding a lot of mobility because of the closeness that you're holding your hands. Right, so we do two variations of it, but the first one, especially when you're trying to create mobility in someone's shoulders, is just straight up. I'm always gonna coach, grip from the sides, don't grip below. We find especially, I mean, always with older population, this is a very common arthritic joint. But now I'm seeing it a lot in younger people because of texting. So it used to be just because that's like a very overused joint, but now it's because people are texting whatever social media all day long. That's exactly right. So holding the med balls can be really uncomfortable with people if you get them into too much joint extension right there. So always from the side. I really like that tool though. Let's see, high kneeling dumbbell shoulder press. So remember high kneel versus low kneel? Yeah? Could be double, could be single. Obviously a lot more instability here because now I don't have my legs under me. Seated dumbbell shoulder press, right? We use the boxes a lot, the ones you're sitting on for that. So just get someone to understand stiffness better. It's a great way to teach stiffness. Feet are grounded, right? A little bit of pelvic tuck. I want them to feel like every time you press up, you're pressing down, whether you're standing or seated. If you're seated right there, feet are grounded, right? You're pushing down as you drive the dumbbells overhead. If you're standing, right? Every time I press up, I'm also pushing down into my feet through the floor to create tension. Most people have a little bit of a soft knee when they shoulder press. I don't coach like that. I teach stiff lockout joints. That's just by choice, but I feel like it creates better tension in the body when their legs are locked out. And then people get less confused between like a push press and a military press. There's a big difference between a military press and a push press, but if someone's never taught to lock out their legs, you're then kind of now having to recreate their whole thought process on military versus push press. Varying tempos, right? So alternating, right? Boom, boom. ISO, one is up, one is pressing. That's a great shoulder stability exercise where you just have one locked out over their head while the other one's working. Alternating with med ball, we do a lot, you'll see. Just left shoulder, right shoulder. That one that makes me want to hurt someone because it's really difficult. Stag stance. Okay, so let's say you're having someone do a traditional double arm shoulder press and they're just falling into their lower back all the time. Other than bringing the weight lower, what's something you can do to help them not use their lower back so much? I just said it. Stag stance, right? So pregnant women, we use that a lot with pregnant women. Anyone that's really overweight, that's a great technique for them. Because this is a lot more, I need a lot more stability here than this because I'm covering more ground. I now can use my legs more, I have a little bit better stability. Usually can help people stay out of their lower backs. I actually learned that from a prenatal, like a pelvic floor specialist for pregnant women, but then I started to think about other people and it works really well. Pausing, right? Hey, you know, you're gonna lock onto the top, 3, 2, 1, come back down. Someone that has lack of stability in their shoulder joint. So people that have tight shoulders most likely don't have great stability in their shoulders, but people that are really mobile as well also don't have stability in their shoulder. Yeah. Hello. Dumbbell Arnold presses. Anyone know what an Arnold press is? Yes. Freaking hate those things. Big mistake people make is they rotate. So if I'm here, people, what they do is they wait to rotate till the top. So the second I lift off, I'm immediately starting to rotate and open and lock out my shoulders. Obviously, the way you'd explain a movement like that is, hey, this is gonna demand a lot more mobility in your shoulder joint, which is obviously great for you, but we're gonna bring the weight down a little bit in something like this. If, let's say, you know, they were doing strict dumbbell press last week, and now they're doing Arnold. Let's say they were doing 35 pounds in each hand with the strict. I'm now gonna drop it a little bit for Arnold because it's a lot more demand on the shoulder joint. Oh, it's like, whose voice is that? Hey, Roger. What do you mean by rotational dumbbell shoulder press versus Arnold shoulder press? There's Arnold press, but then there's rotational dumbbell shoulder press. What? I think it's...
Just start with neutral instead?
No, just cross that thing out. Just cross it out. It's not worth it. Okay, so push press. Here it comes. You know what a push press is, Kyria?
I think so.
You do?
But now I'm questioning if I do.
Don't. That's what we always do. Don't do that. If it's right here, just say it.
A push press.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Push up. Back down.
Give me more.
Um,
You're using what?
using my whole body.
Using my whole body.
Is it when you get like...
It's a power movement. Exactly. It's a power movement.
Using your legs, your core, everything.
Right. So you start off with a knee, like slight bend in the knees, and then go
Exactly. Biggest mistake people make is they do more than a slight bend in their knee, right? They do a squat to press. A push press is just, hey, I want you to unlock your knees, I want you to sit 45 in your hips, and then I want you to think about your legs as the only way to get the arms up. That's because a lot of people use too much arm strength. The arms should feel like ropes and they're floating up over your head. The legs are the ones getting you, right? So I'm here, lock out, and then I can bring myself back down, right? Definitely a very difficult exercise to teach correctly. As with deadlifting, I think it's easier to teach with something a little bit heavier than they might think they're capable of. Of course, when they're learning it, I'm gonna let them start with a light weight, but then the second I think they're close to getting it, I might increase their weight, because if someone feels like they can't lift something, what are they gonna use? Momentum, right? So heavier weights with power exercises can be helpful, but you just have to ensure that they understand it first. Because of course, if I give someone a 135 pound bar to a deadlift, and they've never deadlifted before, they're not gonna know what to do. But if like you, like for example, the way you just deadlift, now that you have that, like you have it in your head, I could probably give you a 135 pound bar and you get off the floor because you're able to keep that tension. So same thing with the push press. Okay, I'm gonna give them 10s, I'm like, all right, just practice the movement. Good, feel how your arms are weightless, they're not doing much? Good, now I'm gonna give you 20s, do the same thing. And they're gonna feel the difference in the load. Floor seated dumbbell shoulder press. Lots of places to go here, right? So crisscross applesauce. We do not call it Indian style. It's too much controversy around that statement. So we go crisscross applesauce. A lot of people cannot do crisscross applesauce. So you're either gonna be here or you're gonna be here. Some people will never be able to do a floor shoulder press. Some people can do it like this, that's more comfortable for them. But you're kind of trying to figure out, remember the pancake sit? You're trying to figure out, hey, do I need to elevate? Like, I'll use this a lot. Because they're like right at the point where they can kind of get there, but then you see this when they go overhead. If I elevate them a little bit, especially in crisscross applesauce.
It's because you said it.
I know. Now I can keep my spine neutral and I'm not rolling into my my lumbar spine like that. But yeah, that's kind of coach's discretion on figuring out if it says, the programming will usually say floor seated, double arm or single arm. What's harder, double arm or single arm?
Yeah, it's gonna be double, yeah.
From a floor position, double is going to be a lot more difficult to be able to maintain core stability. So if you know the client has tight shoulders and the program says double arm or single arm, you know as the coach, just to get them comfortable, I'm going to start them single arm. I'm obviously going to start a lot lighter than I know they're capable of, because if you know that client's tight in their hips, you're going to struggle a lot with it. But it is a really cool movement, because I see people within a 6-week cycle, I see people gaining mobility really quickly because it demands strength and mobility in the same time. Exactly like the pancake pull down. You're demanding strength and mobility. I really like movements like that, because you only have like, it's not like you see these people 10 hours a week, you know? Like, you're trying to get the most out of the time you're with them. Okay. Pike push-ups, feet on ground. Anyone know what a pike push-up is? You do?
I do one.
You know what it is though?
Yeah, you have your butt up in the
Yeah, you put it in there, exactly.
Is that not
and then
Huh?
Is that like a yoga push-up? Is that another name for it?
I don't know, maybe, it could be.
Like that?
Yes, okay, so I'm gonna rip you apart real quick, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so I want you to put your elbows straight back here. Your elbows cannot go towards, better. And number 2, I need you to stay in flexion. So I need you to pull your back towards my hand, beautiful. I need you to maintain this as you drop. So big inhale, hold. Now you can drop when you're ready. Feel how you lose that right there?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's exactly how you would coach, and you'd allow someone to bend their knee. You're doing it a lot harder, because the way I would coach a beginner is I'd put something on the floor for their head, right? I'd have their hands next to them. I'd walk back. I'd allow them to bend their knees a little bit. Elbows tucked in, hollow position on their core. Come forward, drive up, okay? Progression would be legs lock out, elbows back, and then third progression is what you were doing, is eyes forward, right? That's even harder, is eyes forward. We start head top. You're aiming for a triangle on a pike push-up. A triangle. So if my head is here, my hands are always gonna be back here creating a triangle. The head must drive forward, that's what's really hard to get clients to do correctly. If someone has really tight hamstrings, what's gonna happen? It's not gonna, huh?
They're not going to get as high, right?
What's not gonna get it? Exactly, right? So it's gonna look more like a push-up. What you can do for that is what? Any guesses?
I would elevate where his head is.
Oh, they can see.
Opposite.
Opposite.
Elevate their feet.
I was saying that's harder.
It's harder load on their upper body, but it's better mobility on their hamstrings. You're not wrong about the load thing, but when we're talking about that specific hamstring thing, yeah. One of our clients is working on that right now. He's really tight hamstrings, and he's too strong to do it on the floor because it's too easy with his hamstring mobility. Do you know what I'm saying? So I can elevate his feet, get him into a really good, who chose these jams?
I like the Blink-182 and Backstreet Boys.
Right? Well, when? Are you gonna sing? What? Oh. So basically what I can do is, right, have them on the box, hands down, right? They now know I want their head here, right? Hollow position, so I'm pulling up on my ribs and my hips. But now because I have a little bit of extension, better extension on my hamstrings, I should be able to get that angle better without looking like this, right? Because that's what the client was, our client was doing. Basically looks like a regular push-up when his feet is on the floor because he can't get that pike in his hips. We do a lot of pike push-ups. We do pike holds. So just getting someone into that position and holding, that's really hard for a lot of people because it's a lot on your shoulder, right? I think a big miss here on coaching is hands. People, when they do anything on their hand just sits flat on the ground and they're loading right in their palm. You want to strengthen someone's hands, so you want to teach them to grip through the floor so that there's a little bit of flexion in all of their fingers versus just dead weight into their palm. You'll end up with a lot less strains in the muscle in their hands like that. Because like, what other time of day are they in positions like that? Oopsies, I jumped pages. Any questions about pike push-ups?
Are you doing anything with like shoulders?
So in the progressions of a pike push-up, yes, you teach protraction in a pike. So basically, and we in a lot of our warm-up stuff with people, we'll have them like this and doing stuff like this, because eventually you want them doing that exercise in that protracted position. Because just like you did, you fell into extension, which we all do when you're struggling like that. But that's that core control, is being really in flexion and being able to maintain it as you're pressing without feeling like you pop out of this. What's up? Questions? Wait, where's my barbell shoulder press? Oh, I really jumped, guys. Why didn't you even tell me I missed barbell shoulder press?
What?
Oh, you didn't even notice, Brett.
I don't even see that on the sheet.
See? Hence why I missed it. It's right there. I see it. No.
Oh, barbell shoulder press?
Here's barbell shoulder press. We totally missed it. I blame you. What is it?
I was looking for a stack stance and I saw it in their bar.
Maybe that's what I did. Maybe that's what I, in my head too, I like jumped quickly. So I definitely think barbell shoulder pressing is one of the hardest lifts, because you really have to understand stiffness. You really have to, I mean, upper body strength is the hardest for most people. Curious, shift yourself that way, babe, so I don't hit you with my bar.
I feel like a lot of people do it wrong, so they do more of a push press instead.
Hence why I don't teach with legs bent. Okay, so when I'm getting under my bar, biggest mistake people make is they go like this and they lift the bar. Just lift the bar like that. That feels like shit, first of all. And if the bar's heavy, they're gonna end up injuring themselves. So the way you teach it is, hey guys, when you get your bar, I know it's not that heavy right now, but what I want you to do is walk up under it and load with your legs. So I want you to lift with your legs. You're gonna get your chest on it, knuckles straight to the sky, wrist firm, shoulder width stance. You're gonna lift with your legs and then step back off the bar, okay? Now remember your dumbbell shoulder press, right? Your legs are locked out, your butt's tight, your ribs are tucked in. Big inhale when you're ready to press, exhale, drive up, lock out, press back, come back down nice and slow, leading with elbows forward. People go like this, right? Elbows stay below you at all times and slightly in front of you, okay? When you're done with a bar, just like in barbell's chest press, right? Don't be graceful, walk in, get rid of it. Get rid of it as fast as you can, because you're losing energy the longer you hold on to that bar, okay? Remember, no knee bend, right? Butt's tight, quads are tight. Lift with your legs off the rack and walk back to the rack. That's the other thing people do. They're tired here, so they're like, oh, not safe. Yeah, that's barbell shoulder press. One of my favorite lifts, but definitely a very easy lift to screw up. Varying hand positions, we do that a lot. So we do narrow, medium, wide on shoulder press. Once again, helping to increase shoulder mobility for people. Obviously, my wide is gonna be the easiest. I tell people to use the grid on the bar to determine their stance every time. So for me, my wide is gonna be my pointer finger on the grid mark on the outside. I know that's my wide stance, okay? My neutral is always gonna be my shoulder, and then my narrow is gonna be a whole hand grip shorter than my normal. Is that I'm saying that right? A whole hand grip shorter than my normal, yeah? But it might not be the same for everyone. But narrow is always gonna be the hardest for someone that has tight shoulders, so I'm always gonna suggest that they do that one first. And usually the programmers will write it on the sheet. So like my natural way of saying it is gonna be narrow, medium, wide, right? But the sheet might say wide, narrow, medium. Because the coach is trying to let you know that, hey, this client has really tight shoulders, it's gonna be easier for them in this way, or whatever. They're gonna program in a specific way for that client. They might not though, but you might as the coach take initiative and be like, hey, like, is it gonna be better for you? I can see how tight your shoulders are, go wide first, stretch your shoulders out, then we'll try narrow. Okay, so varying hand position, right? Foot position, right, stag stance, someone's driving through their back, let them stag stance it. Where am I at? I don't know why I'm asking. I have it in front of me, sorry. That's horrible. Well, since it's already here, let me do push press, but then we'll go back, okay? And we already did pike push-ups feet elevated, right? So you use an elevation for two things, either lack of mobility or a progression. If someone's progressing with the box, foot elevated, you want them in that L shape. You're not accepting anything less than an L shape on a progressed elevated pike. Does that make sense? So if this is a progression, not a modification for tightness, I want real tight hips. They should be staring at their quads like this before they start to drive forward, protract, and come back, which is brutally difficult, but that's the progression of it. The higher my feet, the harder the exercise becomes. Which once again, that's very specific clients, but there's probably 4 or 5 people doing those right now. Okay, so push press with barbell, same as dumbbell. One thing I didn't say about it is that you don't want to waste a lot of energy on your way down. So what people do is they'll be like, all right, they got this, but then they're like wasting energy. So it's up, straight back down, up, straight back down, because I don't want to waste my energy, especially on something like that, controlling and wearing out my muscles on the way down. What up, girl?
Goodbye, brother. Goodbye, Brett.
Goodbye.
Bye, Kyria.
She's been practicing for the last 3 hours, just for that moment.
I was like, why did she just say my name? That's what I was more caught off guard by that. Now I'm gathering it.
I will never forget it.
She's been waiting 3 hours for that moment.
Even in 30 years, when she hasn't known you, she's still gonna be walking around saying it. Okay, where are we? Pike? No. Floor barbell? Yeah? So very, very rarely taught because it demands a lot of mobility. I'm gonna set my J hooks up chest height from the bar. So I'm gonna probably set my J hooks up about a 15 because I'm gonna sit on my tush, but I don't want them loading. I want them to be able to sit. I want them to sit right under the bar like this and press it, okay? So let's say my J hooks are here, right? I'll have the client get really close so that their chest is under the bar right here. So that way when they lift off, right, they're already ready and racked. I don't want them to have to move once they're down here, right? So I'm very close to the rack. Ribs are compressed. I'm pushing my tailbone through the floor. Exhale as I push. So I'm using my lower body in this just like I would standing. Does that make sense? I'm pushing down through the ground even though I don't have my legs under me anymore. Does that make sense? It's a difficult exercise for sure. Hence why it's the last. We'd use the pads in the leg position the same way as we did for the dumbbell, determining what works best for their pelvis. Hey, you're gonna be good crisscross applesauce. No, you're not. I'm gonna have your legs ahead. No, you're not. I'm gonna elevate your butt, whatever it might be. And let's say that's in their program and they're just butchering it. You know where to go. You go to dumbbells, right? You're gonna get the same muscle activation, but they're gonna be more proficient at it, so they're gonna enjoy it more. I'm not like it. We finished it. Any questions?
So I was taught as you lock out, you're bringing your head forward. You tell them to do that?
For sure, yes. Head lock out, shoulders locked out back, head a little bit forward. What I don't want is people doing this.
Yeah.
That's the only issue with really heavy coaching that. I more coach arms back than I do head forward, but you just have to be cautious of how it's still being delivered to them, like how they're understanding it.